The night had settled in quietly, the way it often does when the world finally decides to rest. Outside, the city lights were dimmer than usual, softened by a thin layer of mist that hung gently in the air. The streets below were almost empty, with only the occasional distant car passing by, its sound fading as quickly as it appeared. Inside the room, everything felt still. The soft glow of a small lamp rested in one corner, barely lighting the space. Shadows stretched lazily across the walls, unmoving and calm. The air felt cool, peaceful, and familiar, like the kind of night that doesn't ask for attention. He sat alone, listening. Not to anything in particular, but to the quiet itself. There was something comforting about moments like this. Moments when nothing was required. No decisions to make, no conversations to continue, no expectations waiting on the other side of the door. Just the night. He leaned back slightly, allowing his shoulders to relax. The chair supported him without effort, and his breathing slowed naturally, matching the gentle rhythm of the silence around him. In and out, the day had already drifted far away. Whatever had happened earlier no longer mattered. The mind, once full of noise, had begun to soften, letting go of thoughts one by one. The clock on the wall ticked quietly, steady and patient. Each second passed without urgency, reminding the room that time itself was in no hurry. Midnight was close now. There was a certain feeling that always came with this hour. A sense that the world had turned inward, that most people were asleep, dreaming, unaware of the quiet beauty of these moments. He looked toward the window. The glass reflected faint shapes from inside the room, mixing them with the dark blue of the sky beyond. A single cloud drifted slowly across the moon, dulling its light for a moment before passing on. Nothing moved quickly. Nothing demanded attention. It felt like the kind of night made for reflection, but even reflection felt unnecessary. Simply being here was enough. His eyelids felt heavy, not from exhaustion, but from comfort. The kind of comfort that comes when the body realizes it's finally safe to rest. The room held a gentle warmth now, balanced perfectly with the cool air from outside. Somewhere far away, a faint sound, perhaps the hum of the city or the wind between buildings, added a soft layer beneath the silence. He closed his eyes for a moment. Darkness greeted him, calm and smooth. No images rushed in, no thoughts insisted on being heard. Just a quiet, steady presence. Another slow breath. This was the part of the night he liked the most. When everything slowed down enough to feel real again. When the world felt smaller, simpler. When nothing unexpected ever seemed to happen. He opened his eyes again, letting them adjust slowly. The clock now read a few minutes past midnight. The numbers glowed softly, unbothered by the stillness around them. A new day had technically begun, yet nothing had changed. The night remained the same. He shifted slightly, the movement quiet and unimportant. Even that small sound felt louder than it should have, echoing gently before disappearing back into silence. It was one of those nights where even sound seemed to respect the calm. He rested his hands comfortably, feeling the quiet weight of the moment. There was no rush to sleep. No need to stay awake. Just a soft balance between the two. The kind of balance that feels rare. Outside, the mist thickened just a little, blurring the city lights even more. The world beyond the window felt distant now, almost unreal, as if it existed in another place entirely. Here, inside this room, time had slowed. His breathing remained steady, effortless. Each breath felt deeper than the last, carrying away any remaining tension without asking permission. The mind, too, had grown quiet. Thoughts that once filled the space had gently stepped aside, leaving behind a calm openness. There was no need to hold on to anything. The night had taken over completely. He didn't notice how long he sat there like that. Minutes passed unnoticed, blending together until they no longer felt separate. This was the kind of quiet that made everything feel suspended, safe, unchanging, peaceful. And yet, beneath that calm, there was something subtle. Not a sound, not a movement, just a feeling, a sense that the night, for all its stillness, was holding something unseen. Something waiting patiently, not to disturb the calm, but to become part of it. He remained unaware of it for now. For the moment, the quiet was complete. The room stayed still, the night remained gentle, and everything felt exactly as it should. The quiet continued, deep and undisturbed. At least, that was how it felt at first. He remained still, breathing slowly, letting the calm of the room hold him. Nothing had changed, yet the silence felt slightly different now, denser somehow, as if it had grown heavier without making a sound. He didn't open his eyes immediately. Sometimes the mind notices things before the senses do. A faint awareness drifted in, barely noticeable. Not a thought, not a sound, just a subtle shift. Like the feeling you get when something moves in another room, even though you can't hear it. He opened his eyes gently. The room looked the same. The lamp still glowed softly. The shadows still rested quietly against the walls. The clock continued its steady ticking, calm and patient. Nothing seemed out of place. And yet, something had changed. He listened more closely now, not searching, just allowing. The silence revealed itself slowly, layer by layer. Beneath it, a distant hum existed, so faint it felt more imagined than real. His breathing slowed even further. In moments like this, the night feels alive, not loud or active, but aware. As if it's paying attention in its own quiet way. He shifted slightly, the chair responding with the softest sound. The room accepted the movement without protest, returning quickly to stillness. Then, gently, it happened. A sound, so soft it almost blended into the quiet. A brief vibration, distant and subtle, like an echo from far away. He froze, not from fear, but from curiosity. The sound faded as quickly as it came, leaving no trace behind. The room returned to silence, unchanged and calm. He waited. Seconds passed. Then more. Nothing followed. Perhaps it was nothing at all. Buildings make sounds at night. Pipes settle. The city breathes in ways most people never notice. He allowed his shoulders to relax again, releasing the small tension that had formed without him realizing it. The night reclaimed its calm. Still, he stayed awake now. Not alert, just gently aware. The clock continued ticking. Midnight drifted further behind him. The numbers glowed softly, marking time that felt almost unreal. Outside, the mist moved slowly, reshaping the distant lights into soft, blurred patterns. The world beyond the window felt far away, as if separated by more than just glass. Another minute passed, then another. Just as his eyelids began to grow heavy again, a second sound arrived. Clearer this time, a quiet vibration, steady and unmistakable. His phone. It rested nearby, dark and still until now. The screen lit up gently, casting a soft glow across the room. No sudden noise, no sharp ring, just a quiet notification. He looked at it without urgency. At this hour, messages were rare. The phone continued to glow silently, waiting. He didn't reach for the phone right away. There was no rush. The glow from the screen was calm, almost respectful, as if it understood the quiet of the room. It didn't blink or demand attention. It simply waited. He watched it for a moment, breathing slowly, letting the stillness remain intact. Then, gently, he picked it up. The screen showed an incoming call. No name, just a number. He stared at it, not with concern, but with a mild sense of curiosity. Unknown calls were common, even at odd hours. And yet, something about this one felt different, not urgent, not alarming. Just present. The phone vibrated softly in his hand, steady and patient. He considered letting it go unanswered. The night felt too calm to interrupt. Sleep hovered nearby, waiting for him to let go completely. But curiosity has a quiet pull. He answered. "Hello," he said softly, his voice barely rising above the silence. For a moment, there was nothing on the other end. No background noise, no static, just silence. He continued to breathe slowly, holding the phone lightly. There was no tension in him, only a calm awareness. Then, finally, a sound. A breath, not rushed, not strained, just someone breathing, slow and steady, mirroring his own rhythm. He listened without speaking. The silence between them felt strangely familiar, like an old memory resurfacing without words. There was no discomfort in it, no pressure. The breath on the other end remained calm. Then, quietly, a voice spoke. It was low, gentle, unhurried, not a stranger's voice, but not immediately recognizable either. The kind of voice that feels known without being remembered. "Are you awake?" it asked. He didn't answer right away. "Yes," he replied softly. Another pause followed, not awkward, not empty, just space. "I thought you might be," the voice said. "You always were awake at this hour." The words drifted through the room gently, settling without weight. He listened, feeling no need to respond immediately. Something about the conversation felt like it had already been happening long before the phone rang. "How did you get this number?" he asked calmly. A quiet breath came through the phone again. "You never changed it," the voice said. "I remembered." The lamp's light flickered slightly, then steadied. The room remained calm, untouched by the exchange. He felt no fear, no confusion, just a subtle warmth spreading through his chest, a feeling he couldn't quite name. The voice continued, slowly. "I didn't want to wake you," it said. "I just needed to hear your voice." The words were simple, gentle. He leaned back slightly, allowing the chair to support him fully. The night seemed to listen with him, holding the moment carefully. "You sound tired," he said. "So do you," the voice replied softly. A quiet understanding passed between them, unspoken, effortless. The call continued, not with questions or explanations, but with pauses. With breathing, with a shared stillness that felt deeper than conversation. Time slipped by unnoticed, and slowly, the weight of the night began to shift, not heavier, not darker, but deeper. As the call continued, words became fewer. They weren't needed. The silence between sentences felt meaningful, filled with something gentle and familiar. The kind of silence shared by people who no longer need to explain themselves. He closed his eyes, listening. The voice on the other end spoke again, quieter now. "Do you remember the nights we stayed awake?" it asked. "When sleep never came easily?" He smiled faintly. "Yes," he said, "I remember." The memories surfaced slowly, without images at first, just feelings. Long nights, soft conversations, shared quiet, moments when the world felt distant, and the night felt like a shelter. "We never minded the silence," the voice continued. "We understood it." He breathed in deeply, letting the memory settle. The room seemed warmer now, more familiar. The shadows softer, the ticking clock quieter than before. "I didn't think I'd hear from you again," he said. "I know," the voice replied gently. "That's why I waited." There was no sadness in the words, only acceptance. The call didn't bring tension or regret. It brought calm, like closing a door softly instead of letting it slam. Outside, the mist thinned, allowing the moon to shine a little brighter. Its light stretched across the room, touching the walls, the floor, the quiet space between breaths. The voice grew quieter. "I just wanted you to know," it said, "that everything turned out okay." He felt the truth of the words settle inside him, steady and reassuring. "I'm glad," he replied softly. The call began to fade, not abruptly, but naturally. The pauses grew longer, the breaths slower. Finally, the voice spoke one last time. "Get some rest," it said. "You always needed it." Then, gently, the line went silent. The phone screen dimmed, returning the room to its soft, familiar glow. He placed it down carefully. The night welcomed the silence back without resistance. His breathing slowed, his eyes remained closed. The memory settled quietly, no longer asking for attention. Sleep drew closer now, not sudden, not heavy. Just calm, just ready. The room remained quiet after the call ended. Not empty, not heavy, just calm. He stayed where he was, allowing the silence to return fully before moving. The phone rested beside him, dark and still now, as if it had never lit up at all. And yet, something had changed. Not in the room, but in him. He took a slow breath, feeling it move gently through his chest. The air felt softer now, warmer somehow. The night, which had been quiet before, now felt complete. Memories continued to surface, not suddenly, not forcefully, but gently, like waves that rise and fall without urgency. He remembered the long nights, the quiet conversations, the comfort of knowing someone else was awake too. Back then, those nights had felt endless. At the time, he hadn't known what they would become. He hadn't known they were shaping something important. He understood it now. Some people come into your life not to stay forever, but to give you something you'll carry long after they're gone. The call hadn't reopened wounds. It hadn't brought regret. Instead, it had answered a question he hadn't realized he was still holding. Was it enough? The answer rested quietly within him now. Yes, it had been. He leaned back, letting his body relax fully into the chair. His shoulders dropped, his jaw softened. The tension he hadn't noticed before slowly released itself. The night outside continued on, unchanged. A faint breeze moved through the city, unseen but present. The moon rested calmly in the sky, unbothered by time. He felt a gentle gratitude rise within him. Not for the call alone, but for everything that had led to it. For the moments that had mattered. For the silence that had followed. The past no longer felt unfinished. It felt complete. He closed his eyes again, and this time, the darkness behind them felt welcoming. Safe. Familiar. The mind, which had listened so closely before, began to let go. Thoughts slowed, then softened, then drifted away one by one. There was nothing left to figure out. Nothing left to hold onto. The night had given him exactly what it needed to, and nothing more. And that was enough. Stillness settled in completely, not the stillness of waiting. The stillness of arrival. His breathing moved slowly now, steady and effortless. Each breath seemed to guide him deeper into rest, though there was no sensation of moving at all. The room no longer felt separate from him. The chair, the air, the quiet, they blended together into one gentle presence. Awareness softened. Thoughts no longer formed. Memories no longer asked to be remembered. Even the feeling of time itself faded into something distant and unimportant. The night held everything without effort. Outside, the city slept. Inside, so did the past. There was no need for conclusions or explanations. Everything that needed to be understood already was, quietly, naturally. The call had ended, but its purpose remained. It hadn't come to disturb the night. It had come to close it gently. His breathing grew even quieter, the pauses between breaths lengthening in a way that felt deeply comfortable. The body knew exactly what to do now. Sleep was no longer approaching. It was already here, not suddenly, not heavily, but softly, like settling into warm darkness. The edges of awareness dissolved completely. Sensation faded. The mind released its final hold, allowing rest to take over fully. There was no dream waiting. Only deep, peaceful sleep. The night did not linger. It did not say goodbye. It simply remained, calm, steady, protective. And within that calm, everything rested. Completely, naturally, at peace.